So, I was thinking, you know, like, as an autistic, I don't have automatic greetings built in. I rehearse them beforehand, and then forget about them. But sometimes I remember. And I was thinking, you know, when I greet Tom, I should give him a hyper mask greeting like, hey man, how's it going? And, you know, and I started thinking, what are some of the things you say to a man that are hyper mask? And right away, a flood of toxic masculinity phrases are what came to mind. Things like, man up, look up, man, you know, things where you tell a man to swallow his feelings and to hide his weaknesses, so that instead of being able to master them, he's now ashamed of them, you know, which doesn't make strong men. That is, again, part of that corporate thing. I think it's coming from the corporations that want to weaken us every way possible. They've got 1 million professional thinkers getting paid to think of ways to disempower us for the almighty dollar. They're well paid, so they think that it's a good bargain, and they enjoy the puzzle of coming up with ways to make people think this about themselves, and never think outside of what it is they're actually doing. They get sucked in. When you look at some of the, you know, you look at a fashion model, you don't think of her, you don't think of her as a tool of the bourgeois. You don't think of her as a complicit agent. And yet you know when you look at her that she is one of the agents and tools of corporate controlled society. That's what a fashion model is.
So are celebrities and
oh yeah, most of them. Exactly, because the minute you're starting to get paid by the corporations, you are their slave to some degree. And if you leave, you're gone. YouTube is making a difference because a lot of people who won't take full corporate pay can still, through donations and stuff, they can still pay the rent. And they live modestly and they're still got a voice. That's making, you know, and the corporations are moving to change that. They have bought YouTube. They're buying Facebook and Google, and or seducing them, one or the other. You either buy them or you seduce them into the fold. And now we see the demonetization as step number one. And apparently there's been issues with Patreon lately too. They don't want all the independent voices. But this thing with hyper-masculinity, like, how does one greet a man that acknowledges his masculinity without devolving into toxic masculinity? That crippling form of... It's all about how we treat each other, you know? Oh, you're this gender, so I treat you that way. You're that gender, so I treat you that way. Although some of it is fueled by, I think that you are this kind of person because of your gender. Therefore, I will treat you like that kind of person, you know? Like, you look really sexy, so that means that you're a real doll with an AI built in, and the AI, in order to make her seem more authentic, occasionally complains. And I have to make the right noises to get the AI to stop complaining. I really think there are men who think of women that way, especially the pretty women. That she's just an artificial intelligence in one of those, in an android doll.
There was
like
an
the Stepford Wives.
There was an artificial, a female artificial doll, and they put her on display somewhere.
Tokyo. She's
something, and she was
a hostess in a department store.
And there was the one that got just sat down there somewhere and got completely mauled. By the end of it, she was like, she needed to go for friggin' repairs.
Oh, I never read that.
Yeah, I read an article about one that got placed at some convention or something, some really populated place, and all the guys, they were just kept touching her and making advances, and she was a sex doll. I think she's a sex doll.
And so they kept pushing it as far as they could, and
I think so.
And it caused damage.
I'm not sure if I'm remembering this correctly or not. I think that's what she's meant for, but anyways, they had to take her back for repairs because the men got a little too enthusiastic about her.
Well, they have to restrain themselves with women. And the beast in them...
And they felt like they didn't have to with this doll.
Yeah.
Now, she's not real, so who cares what we do?
Yeah. There's a beast in them all, and some more readily than others enjoy feeding the beast. And I think that if you give them a guilt-free opportunity, a lot more of them are going to feed the beast. And some will be like, I don't want to feed my beast because my beast is not who I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But the beast is very good at rewarding you, so most of them will give in. That was one of the things I liked about Wendell. He taught me that men don't have to feed their beast. That it's not some obligation, if you're with a man, to let him have intercourse and finish. That he can handle it himself. He can take care of his own business, and it doesn't even have to involve orgasm. He taught me about tantric sex for men, where they actually learn to stop at the moment of orgasm and let it bounce back inside them. And it presents a form of birth control, but it also actually gives them a different and more intense experience that they say transcends reality. As well as apparently being good for the kundalini and the, I don't know. But this is for men, it wasn't for women. But, a man who gets angry because he didn't get what he wanted out of the situation, that's the beast. And well, corporations are feeding the beast, aren't they? They've been feeding that beast ever since media got big enough to reach everybody. They're feeding that beast in the men. They're feeding it with imagery of women as sex objects. They're feeding it with stories of women as either sex objects or shrine objects. There's two Marys, Magdalene and Virgin, right? And that's the two sides of woman that they've been feeding men for forever. And so any woman who tries to step outside of, and what is Mary? She's the vessel for men's lust. Magdalene. What is Mary Virgin? Oh, she is the birther of men. She's the cow. You got the whore and the cow, the broodmare, whatever. You don't liken it to a mare; they get a little more respect. But you've got a cow and a mare, a whore and a mare. And where's the person? Who was Mary? What kind of woman was she? What aspirations did she ever have? What did she teach her son? How much of what he learned came from her? So much we don't know. No one bothered to talk about her. She was a womb. The vagina and the womb. They've been doing it that long. Just forever. And men are being chained to this very narrow definition of what a man is. And it's, in point of fact, a mercenary soldier. The definition of male that they've been handing men for a long, long time is that of mercenary soldier. You will turn off your feelings. You will do what you're told for money. And you will turn off your feelings about what you're doing. And if we call on you to do it for us, whoever we may be, you will do it without question. And then we've taught the society around you that they're going to pat you on the back for it. And the funniest thing is, when you look at current warring countries where men are actually getting caught up in this dynamic, when they do return, if they're not capable of continuing to function as a fully healthy human, they are pretty much cast aside. There's a pat on the back, and that's the end of it. A pat on the back just knocks you down when you're weak. But we were talking about terminology too. Tranny, transgender, and trans man, and trans woman, and trans asterisk, and non-binary, and all these labels, and queer.
And the trans asterisk, that's so new, and we missed that part of the conversation when we were watching that video.
Yeah, I have too much ADHD for that. I think
we're about a minute or two ahead of when he said it.
I have to be knitting or something to listen that much. Speaking of knitting, I should do some while we sit.
Yeah, I don't understand the problem with transsexual that's a new problem that I don't know who they are. If that's the
I think
community,
I can explain it
or
because
if it's
Chase
some
and
outside
Aaron
they-
have discussed it.
have they?
Yes. And I think they put a lot of clarity on it. You are not transsexing. You are transgendering. That may include some transsexing, but bottom surgery is transsexual. Everything else is transgender. And who wants to be defined by their genitalia? Nobody. Transsexual implies that you're not trans enough unless you go through the whole 9 yards. That what's in your pants that nobody but you and your most intimate lovers who don't care are going to know about is anybody's damn business on your label. Because you're walking around with, like I was thinking, what if I got a t-shirt made with samples of every label that might apply to me? ADHD, autistic, welfare queen, include the good ones and the bad ones, all of them. Just make up a graphic and print it all off. Well, we're running around every day with that. We're wearing these labels like they're on a t-shirt, and the labels that we're wearing affect how we feel about ourselves. How does the label selfish make you feel? Really bad. How does the label faggot make you feel? How does the label dyke make you feel? How does the label bitch make you feel? There's all these labels, and we're wearing them on a t-shirt unless we erase them. And in order to erase them, we have to ask other people not to call them, because they're burned in by words. So we stop using words that make us feel that way. Now, I see Buck Angel's point about how tranny could be considered cute. Tranny, granny. But I really think it should stick to belonging to cars. I really do. Because whenever you put Y on the end of a word, you're diminishing it. It's a diminutive. John, Johnny, Tom, Tommy. Do you want to be called Tommy?
Depends on who's calling it.
It's a very intimate word then.
Yeah, because I've had a friend that called me Tommy all the time.
Come close again, knee to knee, or you're out of frame.
She called me Tommy lots, and I didn't mind it because we were good friends, and she would always say Tommy, and it was a happy.
And what? Right, and it made you a child again, kind of thing. But it's like cute little. It's cutifying. So when you look at somebody who has been getting treated like a joke. Because that's what transgender people are treated like. We're treated like jokes. We're disrespected as crazy. We're disrespected as not serious. We're disrespected as not moral enough, as having low character. All of these things are offered to us as when we tell people we're transgender. Mommy, I really feel like a boy trapped in a woman's body. Oh, don't be so silly. Everyone can see you're a girl. From there on out, it just keeps going that way. And so when you put Y on the end of tran, you're taking a lot of these people right back there again to childhood. You're diminishing them. You're making them small and less important. So, I see what the problem. I think trannies should stick to a transmission. That's your car. And I can accept trans as an appendix opposite cis. You are a cis man, you are a trans man. You are a cis woman, you are a trans woman. And you don't have to identify. You can be, we've already got names. I'm Yoli, you're Tom, that's Timmy. We don't have to identify beyond that. There are times we want to. And why can't we as a society find labels that are comfortable for all of us? There's just... Every time I hear the word tranny, I think of a trans woman, bruised and bleeding in a back alley. And that's the last thing she hears as they walk away. And I know that's been happening for decades, centuries even. That there's these people who just couldn't resist their desire for the finer things in life, the silks and the laces, the embroideries and the sparklies. They just loved it so much. And every time they indulged in that wonderful little thing, went, oh my God, this feather hat is so pretty, I want to wear it. Someone beat them up and called them a tranny. You know, and for me, being born in a woman's body, that is the number one thing that pleases me about it. And what made it so easy for me to emulate female. I love sparkly things. I love purple things. I love pink things. I love colorful things. I love shiny things. I love embroidery, and I love jewelry, and I love just like a crow and shiny things. And I think there's plenty of men out there who do, and they buy it for their women. And that's okay, because they get to watch, they get to look at it on her. So they don't mind not wearing it themselves. But I didn't have that option. I should consider the woman in the mirror. You know, and it's not fair to tell half the population what they can and cannot wear. And then beat them up for it. And I don't think that transgender would be an issue if we'd stop telling people who to be.
No kidding.
What it is. And we do. And it's going to be a long time before we stop.
Each person has the right to tell themselves who they are, and nobody else outside them.
I also think that testosterone people who've gone through testosterone puberty, cis men, that's what I'm supposed to be saying. I think it's fair to say that cisgendered men have a hardwired built-in response to higher-pitched voices of thinking of them as having less status, less voice, less validity. And lower-pitched voices need their attention immediately, and partly because those are the threats. You know, if you look at some societies or some situations where patriarchy is in full blow, the bigger the man, the more he takes for himself, and he takes it from the smaller man. The higher pitched your voice was, the smaller and younger you were, the more easily beat up you were. And so you're more concerned with the deeper voices. So deeper voices have more gravitas, and therefore in our current society, especially with patriarchy still being in charge instead of a matriarchy, those deep voices, those are the only ones you want to hear. All the rest are wasting your time. Your important internal thinking time. And with the internet now, you know, if you want to listen to someone else's voice, man, you pick it. You want to hear it? It's on the YouTube. Tune in.
I think I'm about to start coughing.
What's a good toast? Now, you're finished yours. It's just my first sip of this tasty beverage.
That one I see more as Irish cream.
It is nice and creamy. But I taste the coffee and chocolate in it.
Yeah, and the other one is a darker, more like Kahlua.
It would be like espresso. Yeah, yeah. I think it's a poor man's Kahlua because it was cheaper than Kahlua. I think Kahlua has cream in it, doesn't it? Okay. There's also Tia Maria, which is a dark coffee one.
Yeah, and that one looked like a dark one too.
I'm
Whereas
pretty
this
sure
one's like
Kahlua
Irish cream.
includes cream.
Not
That's
as
a
much
coffee
as Irish
cream.
though.
Irish cream doesn't have coffee in it.
Irish, well, because I mean Kahlua is a dark brown color, so where is the hell is the cream in
Isn't
that?
it opaque?
No.
Oh, okay.
Kahlua is really dark brown.
Okay. Then I'm getting mixed up.
Okay.
I don't drink enough to be that familiar, really. I'm just constantly going into the liquor board store and going, now where's something I recognize? And finding nothing I recognize, and/or I'm like, it costs that much?
Yeah.
And I'm, well, I'll try this one. It's half as much. So there it is. It's called Forbidden Passion. Actually, this one was kind of a treat buy because it was a really small bottle. Yeah, it was Christmas. I wanted Christmassy beverages. That whiskey's the shit, though. Whiskey should have some flavor. Vodka's supposed to be flavorless, and I'll be using it. Well, vodka has a different edge to it than this stuff. They're almost the same. But vodka's almost like it's got some mint in it or something compared to, like it's a cooler flavor compared to this moonshine whiskey.
I haven't had it.
It's pretty mild. It's
I
almost
usually drink
non-existent.
rum, so
When rum has to have flavor.
it normally does. Yeah, it's made
I've
from
had
sugar cane.
flavorless rum. It's all about how far distilled the spirits are. If you take them far enough that there's no color, you take most of the flavor out. And the thing with vodka is that potatoes are basically flavorless to begin with, whereas sugar cane and rye both still have flavor in them. I'm holding off going pee. Oh my goodness, I don't think I can. How much time have we got? It's only 3:30. I keep thinking that 5 o'clock passed because my thing went off. That's funny. Fitbit. I have no idea what Fitbit was on about. Oh no. I really didn't need that. Hey, Chihuahua. Let's disconnect it. That's it. That's the end of this kitchen chat. I gotta pee and then I gotta